Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again with the slight follow-up video to the Stormbrand Hierophant using the Gyromantic Crucible staff that's new, that has a built-in Crucible tree that just has some level 30 supports. That I built an entire character around because I thought the supports looked good for this character. Anyway, all of that said, yep, this character went pretty well. Stormbrand basically can't miss. Just been a solid build ever since it came out all those years ago. Still a very good skill and in turn a solid build. The staff itself, don't get too fixated on that. I actually just then checked the path of building, and if you just put 2 void batteries in this character and take out the staff nodes, take some other shit, you basically have the exact same damage setup. It's almost identical DPS wise. You just lose Immolate, probably still run Ice Bite, but yeah, there's plenty of good ways to build Stormbrand. It doesn't have to be a Hierophant, it can be an Inquisitor, it can be similar to what I've done in the past with an Occultist as well, Assassin, Trickster, lots of good shit out there. This character has, however, done well enough with his entire package, so Petrified Blood, the endurance charges, some leech and damage reduction and stuff. It's done well enough to be able to take a few hits here or there, but like I said in the previous video, Stormbrand really lends itself to a playstyle where not getting hit is just absolutely king, and it's really easy to not get hit in a lot of cases, because all you're doing is essentially applying a brand or like a passive damage over time even to every enemy and running around. You can see I still get hit by Shaper Beams, and that is tough for Petrified Blood because you're still taking a good amount of damage over time there, but didn't end up dying to it. So I end up clean sweeping all the Uber bosses, many of them deathless, and you can see and really appreciate that on Uber Shaper and many of the others, but especially on Uber Shaper, that a large difference between this and like many other builds, and especially really point blank melee builds, is just pure DPS uptime. There's basically zero downtime on the DPS of something like this. Like, we are talking, if the boss is active or it's not an immunity phase or some shit, you are doing damage at your fullest. So it's only got like 9 to 10 million DPS you'll see in the POB, but it is a completely effective DPS at all times. So it just ends up being really, really smooth for bossing, provided you've got it to a point where you've got a decent bit of DPS and cast speed and understanding of the game mechanics, because you still have to basically dodge stuff and know what's coming your way, but it's something that really lends itself to being able to do that. Because yeah, if I can just like look at some of my Shaper kills, Uber Shaper, that was an Uber Maven Shaper as well. If I can look at some of those kills as like a pure melee, I have maybe 10% of the DPS uptime, unless I am really thick on that character. Whereas this, basically 100%. And on all these invites, so feared and 4 ways, 5 ways, whenever 2 mobs spawn, you basically have 100% of your DPS uptime on both of the enemies at the same time, because you can put out 5, even up to 7 brands if you spec into it, up to 5 brands, so 2 brands on each enemy, and you're dealing 100% of your DPS at all times just running around. So this is a feared, and I did plenty of invites on this character for 4 ways, 5 ways, and just rolled them rare and have mostly giving them lots of damage. If I want to give them any thickness, that just makes the fight a bit tougher, longer, because I got to dodge more things. So usually just giving them extra damage and then running around and making sure I don't get hit. And the uptime, like I said, about 100%. This is an Uber Maven. You can see I pressed Righteous Fire. I basically never press Righteous Fire in any situations, but I got comfortable enough with Maven first phase and also last phase that I'd start pressing Righteous Fire during that. Because the character is not built for Righteous Fire, it means it will take away all of my energy shield and all of my life, and for the duration of the Righteous Fire I cannot get hit. So like I said, for Maven, I think I ended up doing 5 or 6 Mavens, and a few of them were very clean and deathless. I got to the point where I could, for the first phase, not get hit, and for the last phase probably as well not get hit. But Righteous Fire, very much a luxury and a non-factor in this build because we haven't built around it, and like I said, I only pressed it for like Maven, and that's about it. Otherwise, yeah, you just still run around, do the mechanics, and just have really good DPS uptime. So the DPS doesn't look very mind-blowing, at least not to my eyes. It is about 9 to 10 million or some shit, and then it gets slightly bigger during your focus. When you're pressing your focus, it can be bigger during the Hierophant last activation frequency thing, but that one is a bit of a bait node because I am quite rarely actually letting the last 25% of my brand tick down. It does happen by all means. If you're like running away or don't have a chance to reapply your brand, then you're getting more DPS out of your ascendancy node there. But otherwise, for plenty of bosses, I'm just constantly reapplying brands because I don't want brands to ever be dropped off and not doing good damage. So if that ever happens, then maybe I'm missing out on damage, but I'm also missing out on my ascendancy node. So overall, the Hierophant package is basically just scaling Arcane Surge well. You can steal that node if you're an Inquisitor or something, and having good min charges. Once again, you could steal that node if you're an Inquisitor. There's a lot to kind of like about Hierophant at the moment, but it's still, for brands, like, not anything incredible. It just has a decent overall package for it. But you can definitely do lots of other ascendancies, like I said. Void batteries, different staff, triple damage staff, find more of these geomantic staffs. It's a very flexible setup, and I do encourage some Stormbrand gameplay, either as a starter or as a pure thick endgaming character. And I'm sure you can find some really big examples out there on PoE Ninja or some shit of much bigger Stormbrands than the one I've got here. Either way, I'll just leave you with a uber shaper. This Stormbrand is actually probably one of the nicer builds to ever do uber shaper, because, like I said, really good uptime, really good chance to dodge things. So enjoy the buttery smooth uber shaper that is, and hope you guys like the whole character. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time. This is gonna be sketch. Like, it should be okay, but gonna probably die a few times. And have to dodge like everything. Deeps is pretty good, all things considered. I think I just then skipped a ball phase. Yep. And Deeps let me skip a ball phase, which is really good. Ugh, this is sketch at this point. Deep skipped another ball phase, I think. There's a good chance I get to do the entire fight without a single shaper ball phase. Just because of my fucking unlimited power. Nah, I'm not sure it's gonna happen. Nope. I mean, that right there, as clean as you'll ever see it. That's a Halfway through, I had to check to see if it was Uber because I wasn't sure. It seemed too good. And the worst loot you'll ever see, so fuck yeah. Unless it's a perfect roll. Even if it's a perfect roll, it's like 30C. Okay, scammed.